Arogya Mitra team. We are fast approaching the exam season, and in new normal, our children are facing new challenges every day. Same is true for the parents. So, this month we have come up with the series Mental Health for Youth with the main focus on academics and career. We have Health Pal panelist Dr. Ashwini Belgaonkar, counseling psychologist from Crossroad Counseling Center, Belgaum. Dr. Ashwini's area of expertise is family therapy with the main focus on youth related issues. Coming to today's topic is kids, studies, and parenting. Dr. Ashwini, can you please tell us how, as a parent, I can help my child with his studies?
Yes, handling studies for teenagers is indeed a challenge, especially in these times. What I would suggest is that the first step would be to set up realistic and achievable performance goals for your child. Now, realistic would mean that you have to think about your child's past performance, take feedback from your teachers, your child's teachers, assess his strengths and weaknesses, his motivation level, his goals. So how capable is he of pushing himself? There are so many variables. And then the most important thing would be to have a discussion with your child about what are his goals. So you can have the discussion something like this. Kids very often have tests, especially for their 10th and 12th. You could ask them, are you happy with your past performance in the test that you just went by? And, things are not going well. Normally the kid is going to say, no, I'm not very happy. So why are you not happy? What went wrong? No, I think I could have got better marks. Then now you take this further. You can say, okay, so just tell me what subjects were you not happy with, and so for the next test, how many marks do you think you're capable of getting for those subjects? So he may say, math I got 70, I think I can get 80. English I think should be the same. SST maybe I can do better. So pin them down to specific marks. These are the goals which are coming from your child. So now he is accountable because he has said he's capable of getting these marks, right? So now you can say that I absolutely believe you that you will get these marks. Now in your mind you may think he can do even better, but now is not the time to be greedy. Now let's listen to your child, and since the curve is going upwards, let's be happy with that. To take the discussion further, we can just tell them that I'm sure you could have got the same marks last time too, right? So what went wrong? Important to keep the tone not as accusatory and your body language still very open. So he may say that, I didn't study much, I didn't study enough. You're like, okay, fine, you didn't study enough. Again, the voice inside is going to go ticking and say that I kept asking you to study and you did not listen to me. Again, hold that voice within you, don't say it. So, you didn't study enough. Okay, so what were the struggles? What were the problems you faced because of which you couldn't study enough? Now, if you have built a relationship with your child which is open, honest, and non-judgmental, your child will be honest and will kind of share what the issues are. The issues could be, I could not manage my time well. I was distracted. I spent too much time playing video games, watching movies, or chatting, or I started very late. Preparation was very late. I didn't have enough time. So now the problems are on the table. You knew these problems all along, but now it's coming from your child. Now that your child has admitted that he's having difficulties, now we're in a position to ask them, would you like my help? And most likely the child will say yes at this point, which is what we want, because very often kids just refuse our help. But at this point, the way the conversation is going, very likely to say, yes, I would like your help. So you say, okay, what, let's set a timetable. The minute the child hears timetable, he says, no, mama, it's not going to work. Timetables, I made them several times, they never work. So let's try making a realistic timetable this time. I'm not going to ask you to wake up at 5 and study for 3 hours. I know you and you also know yourself. So we know your attention span, and we'll have a timetable which is realistic, which will also give you time to, play, watch your TV. So we'll try to keep it as real and as user friendly as possible. So both of you sit down together and have this collaborative exercise of having a real timetable. This is the easy part. The tougher part comes when you have to follow up now, right? So now all these promises have been made in full josh that I will do these things. There's a commitment from your child to following this timetable. And day 2, when you see that your child is slipping again, watching a video game, beyond what the time limit was, a gentle reminder is necessary now that you had planned half an hour. And I understand this game is very interesting, and I understand it's hard for you, that given a choice of studying or playing a video game, you would rather play the video game. I understand that, but it's important. And why is it important? Because you have to motivate your child using his career goals. So now mostly I always suggest that by the 9th standard the career goals have to be set. So if your child, so for example, he wants to be a marine engineer, so you say, what, you want to be a marine engineer, it's your dream, your goal, and that college in Chennai that you want to go to has a very high cutoff. So if you want to get in, you have to study hard. So motivation only works if there is a specific goal ahead of. Very often as adults also we underperform. We also struggle balancing our work-life balance. As children, they are struggling between so many things, right? Their screen time, their movie time, friends time, chatting, studying. And at this age, it's very, very hard to control their impulses. It's very hard to do the right thing. So this is where we have to guide them gently. Instead of forcing them and taking away privileges forcibly, we can kind of gently help them navigate through all these issues that they are facing. The most important thing for a parent is to manage their own emotions, right? If we are stressed, worried about our child's performance, what will happen if he gets low marks, what if he can't fulfill his dreams, we are projecting our own anxieties and insecurities onto the child, which does not work for the child at all. It's very important to have a calm, positive and reassuring presence in your child's life. Very often when I ask kids, how can your parents help you, they just say one thing: ask my mom to please stop nagging me. So we don't want this. We don't want to be a negative force in our child's life. We want to be a positive force. The most important thing to remember, of course, is that each child is unique, each child is different, each parent is different, their relationship is different, the value system in each house is different, the goals that we have are different. So what we've been talking about so far are just very broad guidelines. Each individual case, of course, will have different solutions. And to summarize, so the 4 key things we should remember when handling this issue is, firstly, to set up realistic and achievable goals. Second is to have a very supportive and collaborative relationship with your child. Third is to tie in the child's career objectives to his marks. The motivation comes only when there is a specific goal ahead of us. And the last and the most important thing is to manage our own emotions.